ZANU-PF youth member, Sibat Mnangagwa has approached the Bulawayo High Court seeking the nullification of ZANU-PF's 19 November 2017 special session of the Central Committee meeting, which elected Emmerson Mnangagwa as the incumbent president. According to the court application filed Wednesday, Mnangagwa through his lawyer Nakobani Sithole cited ZANU-PF as the first respondent and Mnangagwa as the second respondent. The other respondents are Party's Secretary for Administration Albert Mphoko, Acting Political Commissar Patrick Chinamasa, former Vice President Felekezela Mphoko, ex-Finance Secretary Ignatius Chamba. This accord application in terms of Section 14 of the High Court Act, Chapter 706 for declaratory orders and consequential relief in the following terms: a declarator that the special session of the Central Committee of the First Respondent, ZANU-PF, convened on 19 November 2017 at the party's headquarters in Harare from 10 o'clock to 1600 hours was ultra vires the provisions of the Constitution of the First Respondent and, therefore, unlawful and null and void, Mnangagwa argued. After the 19th of November 2017 ZANU-PF Central Committee meeting, the now late President Robert Mugabe was forced to resign immediately as the party and Zimbabwe's president and was replaced by Mnangagwa. However, Mnangagwa argues the meeting was illegal and invalid and should be set aside. A declarator that all the resolutions of the special session of the Central Committee of the First Respondent passed at the unlawful meeting concerned on 19 November 2017 are unlawful, invalid and accordingly set aside, reads part of the High Court application seen by New Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa is also praying for an order directing Mphoko, in his capacity as the lawful vice president and second secretary of the First Respondent, to convene and preside over a special Extraordinary Congress of ZANU-PF. He added the proposed Congress would regularize the top leadership positions in ZANU-PF. Mnangagwa argued Mnangagwa is unlawfully occupying the position of the President and First Secretary of the party was occupied by His Excellency CDE Robert Mugabe, who was also the head of state and government and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. Out of the two positions of Vice President and Second Secretary of the party, only one such position was occupied by CDE Felekezela Mphoko, the fifth respondent herein. The other position of Vice President and Second Secretary of the party was vacant after the second respondent, Mnangagwa, was relieved of his duties as one of the two Vice Presidents of the country under the Constitution of Zimbabwe on 6 November 2017. Following his removal from the position of Vice President of the country, the second respondent, for reasons I never understand, decided to flee the country. Mnangagwa said at the time of his removal, Mugabe was not incapacitated to preside over a lawful convened session of the Central Committee in terms of Article 7 Section 38 of the party's constitution. He was at all material times seized with the internal affairs of the party and his engagement with the commanders of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces is evidenced by the subject of his televised speech on the evening of 19 November 2017, at the end of which he bid the whole country a good night with the famed Asante Sana remark. The Vice President and Second Secretary of the party CDE Felekezela Mphoko was not incapacitated at all to preside over a lawfully convened session of the Central Committee in terms of Article 7 Section 38 of the party's constitution, in the event that the President and First Secretary of the party was absent. It is, therefore, clear that the pretext of alleged incapacitation of the top leadership of the party given by those who attended the unlawful and unconstitutional special session of the Central Committee meeting convened on 19 November 2017 is deliberately false and misleading. Mnangagwa said the conduct of Central Committee members that attended the purported special session and elected Mphoko to preside over the meeting was null and void. The third respondent was at the material time the Secretary for Finance, and the functions and responsibilities of that position are spelt out in Article 9 Section 49 of the party's constitution. He had no authority whatsoever to convene or preside over a session of the Central Committee, and there is no provision in the party's constitution, which empowers members of the party's Central Committee to elect a member of their own choosing to preside over a session of the Central Committee of the first respondent. All the respondents are yet to file their opposing papers.